What is going on, everybody? I want to let you know I played in a tournament on Saturday in Phoenix, Arizona with the Adeptus Mechanicus, my favorite army that I currently play. I don't know if they hold a special place deep inside like the Eldar do for me, but I haven't played them since like 2nd and 3rd edition. So I do love the admech, and they're pretty much the army I've played all 8th edition. And I won Best General, which was very exciting. So you're looking at the Redbeard Best General, Adeptus Mechanicus. This is kind of a fun tournament. It's the OG tournament, so that is the, let's say, single codex, no Lord of War, no Forge World event, and it does 50 power level. Now, I wish it was 1,000 points and not 50 power level, but what can you do? So everybody's there to have a good time. Last time I played, it was about 4 months ago. I did a Death Watch army. I had a great time. I went 1-1-1. This time I took my admech because I hadn't played them in a while, and I went win-win loss. But fun fact, only 2 models survived playing against me with my 3 opponents. So I tabled the first 2 people, and the last person, only 2 models survived. So my army was brutal. I apologized to my first opponent because I could tell right away his army was pretty friendly, and I went a little harder on this one. And my second and third opponent had a pretty harder army that could have went either way, and I didn't feel bad about my list. But the first one, it was definitely not quite the same matchup and not a list I would have played against. Like, I wouldn't have taken what I did against that list in a normal friendly game because I knew my list was going to be pretty powerful. So I went with, this is a 50 power level. I went with a battalion, so I have 8 CPs, and I am Mars. Now, I went with Mars because it makes you have a really high damage output on a few of your units with Wrath of Mars, the 2 being the Castellan robots and the infiltrators. And I knew I wanted to be able to kill if somebody took a heavy, 20, 30 point power level point, type thing, maybe a Land Raider, Storm Raven, big things like that might show up in a 50 power level. Because when I played my Death Watch, I took a repulsor, and some people had a hard time dealing with that. So I went Engine Seer, Warlord, with the 6 up to gain command points back. Always good, especially when you only have 8. You're gonna, 1 extra command point means a big difference in a 50 power level game. And I went with reroll heals for his relic, and he's just so worthless that if he's only there to heal people, I'm going to give it my best shot that he does it right. So then the second one was another Engine Seer who's literally just wandering around doing nothing. I went with 5 Rangers. This is power level, so you get all the free upgrades. This is 2 Transuranic Arquebuses and an Omnispecs. They're just going to sit back. I was going to use them to screen the robots if I felt I needed to avoid like a first turn charge, or try to snipe a character if I could, or it's just their guns are good to shoot at vehicles too. They're strength 7, they do AP2 D3 damage, so it's a nice little unit. I went with 5 Vanguard, 2 Plasma Calivers, Arc Pistol, Arc Maul on the champion, Omnispecs. These guys just wandered forward every game and did what they could. First game, they killed a Rhino, so pretty cool. I went with 3 Destroyers with the Plasma Guns and the Phosphor Blasters. They're very expensive. They're 10 power level. I really spent a long time, and by a long time I mean like 2 hours, thinking about if they're worth it. Ultimately, I decided yes, because of it, the power it gave my Alpha Strike. I went, and that's based on the stratagem that when they're next to the robots, they both get +1 to hit. So they can overcharge with no fear of death, and the robots hitting on 3s, it's just so powerful. And once that happens once in a 50 power level point game, especially if you went first, it's, seemingly game over at that point. 5 infiltrators. These are my second in command unit to use Wrath of Mars on. I really wanted to have a unit of 10, but to have 10 infiltrators, I would have had to get rid of the destroyers and drop them down to another unit of Vanguard or Rangers. So ultimately I just went with 5, so that's 25 shots, and they could be hitting on 2s, rerolling 1s. So it is a good unit for Wrath of Mars because they have a lot of hits with their flechette blasters and tasers. Iron Striders, 2 of them with las cannons. I love these guys. I was telling everybody about the chickens. They're so good. Everybody's only talking about the Dragoons, and they all forgot that having las cannons that hit on 1s, rerolling 1s, is a good thing in Warhammer. And they still are. They're wonderful. And 2 Castellan robots, all DACA, because, well, they're just very good. They're very good with Wrath of Mars. They pretty much kill everything that's walking around on 2 feet, and people just have to try to play around them. And even just 2 is enough that your opponent can't just eat it, right? They don't want to get hit with 36 shots. And you get a lot of board control. Board control. Basically, you just have a big view for killing. So the tournament was open war, but a lot of the kind of first turn win cards were taken out. So it was just a few deployment zones, a few twists, a few scenarios. And the first game, it was basically a triangular deployment all the way touching in the center. So you could actually deploy like right next to each other. In the very tip of that pyramid, objective in the center, and basically whoever controls that objective at the end is the winner at the end of battle round 5. He was an Iron Warriors, or the Chaos Ignore. I think it's a Chaos army that ignores cover, and which is good against admech because that means mechanical of being in cover has no value. But I went first. I killed almost everything on the board. He had a few things deep strike that did some damage, and then I killed all of them, and that was pretty much game over. He had 2 characters left at the end, and then I killed them on like turn 4 or turn 3, I think. I think it was turn 3, but it could have been turn 4. So I got max tournament points, and I win. So it's basically win-loss, and then tournament points. Tournament points were First Blood, Kill the Warlord, and depending on the power level of the unit you killed, it was worth 1, 2, or 3 points. So I had a ton of tournament points because I tabled them, maxed out, right? I had the full tournament points. I then went on to my second game. This was a objective in the middle. Each side has an objective. We're playing corners, and if you hold the objective, you get points every turn. If you take an objective from an enemy, you get 3 points that turn for that. And he won the last OG tournament with Tyranids. This time he brought a Space Marine Raven Guard list with a Storm Raven and a Storm Talon. So I knew this was going to be rough. And he was aware of my 36-inch range of killing everything. So he deployed back beyond that, but still hoping to go first. He was going to finish deploying first, whereas I deployed right up as close as I could, thinking I could move and still shoot him, and that's better than not being able to shoot at all, because shooting at a -1 for moving with the robots and then another -1 from the plane, or then I could get a +1 back for the stratagem, that sort of thing. The destroyers could move up and just suffer a -1 from the Storm Ravens -1 hit, but not have to worry about moving and shooting, because that's what they do. So he wins the roll-off to go first, and I really can't decide if I want to seize or not, because I'm just not sure if I have enough firepower. And then I thought, I don't think I can eat a Storm Raven and a Storm Talon flying. And he had a Chapter Master and a Lieutenant on Jump Pack, so they're basically going to give these things tons of rerolls. So I end up seizing the initiative, and it was pretty cool. I'm like, yeah, I'll just go for it. Boom, 6. Robots walk forward. Destroyers go forward. Las cannons, all of them shoot. The Storm Raven, blow it up. First turn, even at the -1 to hit with the stratagems. Just so powerful. 3 of the 10 guys inside died. And basically it's just a bunch of Marines walking. His turn, the Storm Talon flies up. Fails to kind of kill the targets it was trying. It kind of wounded 2 targets, but it didn't really finish anything off, which is a bad thing against admech because they heal very fast. So night turn, destroy the Storm Talon, kill almost every Marine on the board, and then eventually it's down to just 2 characters that I eventually will kill. And I win, and I get max tournament points, max, and a win. This was a big sway for him because he got 18 tournament points in the first game, whereas I only got 16. I think we both tabled our opponents. But in this one, I got 16 again, or 15, somewhere around there, whatever the max was. But he only got 2, because he basically didn't have anything left to finish off any of my units. So he went from high maxing tournament points down to basically, probably middle of the road now. And he has a loss. So third game, I go against Tyranids. It's like 12 Tyranid warriors, 6 Hive Guard, the Prime, who's like a Tyranid warrior HQ, and the Zoanthrope, and a Mucoloid Spore, and like 10 Termagants. We set up. This one is basically whoever sets up their army first gets to go first, unless you roll a 1 on. You have to roll 2+. So I set up my whole army. He set up his army, and I rolled a 2+. So I go first. I killed, I think, 10 or 7, maybe 8 to 10 of the warriors first turn, and he's just like, "Oh, this is going to be a vicious tabling." And I felt that was going to be the case, but some of my rolls were pretty awful. Not like, I can't say I had bad rolls, because I did have good rolls too, but like at one point one of my robots blew up, which killed a destroyer and put 3 wounds on my engine seer, who then died because of it. Some of my las cannons couldn't, the las cannons were just doing nothing. I shot a single wound remaining warrior with 4 units, and it survived. And basically I thought I was going to just pick it off real quick and then kill his Tyranid Prime. Now, this scenario, the reason I lost was just the open war deck. The mission or whatever was characters, monsters, and vehicles are worth double victory points, which is basically impossible to win when your opponent has no monsters, no vehicles, and they have 2 characters, and eventually you will get to kill them, although they'll be the only 2 that survive. So it's impossible to win if you don't kill any of the double point things. But so once he ended up killing the 2 Castellan robots with the 6 Hive Guard over the course of like 2 turns, and he had some heavy venom cannons. So he ends up killing them both. So that's a 24 point swing. Or not swing, but 24 points, right? Because they're double. The points are basically power level and then doubled because they're vehicle. And then because of that, they killed my warlord, who was 6 points when they blew up, because he's double. And it got my unit of destroyers killed, which is worth 10 points. They weren't double, but it's still an expensive unit. So all of a sudden, I basically can't win unless I table him. And later, the game was so close, it turned out all I actually had to do was kill the Tyranid Prime, because his double points would have put me actually, I think, 1 ahead of him at the end of it. So, and I had some chances to do it, but like I said, my 3 units failed to kill a 1 wound remaining warrior that then would have opened up shots onto that guy. But, oh well, all said and done, I still won more tournament points in that match than he did, and because of that, at the end of it, I had the most tournament points in the tournament, so I got first place in best general and second place overall in the event, which was very exciting. I've never really done that before. I knew I was taking a pretty hard list. I know the admech book pretty well. I've played it a lot. I think a lot of people on the battle reports do it wrong. I've mentioned it in a lot of videos, and I probably will be talking about that a little bit more, because generally, if I just throw together a list and play against somebody's like ITC list or something just because they want a game and I'm just doing it for fun, they want to practice their army and I just, play a game. And I don't play that many, but I generally do very well. Sometimes I crush them. And these are the like lists they travel to tournaments with, and not saying I can win a big event, but I don't know. I put together some nice little tricks, I feel like. So it was very exciting. It was, got me $100 store credit, which I will be using on Shadow Spear. So coming soon, Shadow Spear, I'll be purchasing that. And let me know your thoughts on tournament admech. If you've done any kind of, there was like 30 players. The last time I think there was like 40. So people do actually enjoy these OG events. OG standing for old gamer. But the people really like them. They're like a good turnout. People have fun. The best part to me is the 50 power level. Although that's not the good part. The best part is it's small. So you can play 3 games in a day. You finish rounds with 30 minutes between, before your next game. It's really relaxing. People are just hanging out, having fun. They do a player's choice painting, which unfortunately I did not win. And then a judge's choice painting, which unfortunately I did not win. Both of those I care almost more about than any kind of gameplay. So that, I gotta, I guess, step up my game or make a display board or something. But the army that won player's choice is like this really nice Blood Angels army. His name's Lenny. You can see some of his work on the Warhammer 40k couple show. Community showcase sometimes. And he's on Instagram. I can't remember his name though. His Instagram handle. So let me know what you think. Please subscribe. We're still giving away Nagash. We got him. I think he's over there. So we'll be getting probably a new phone or a new camera soon. And we're plugging away on our channel, our Kickstarter fulfillment. We are doing big things. And by we, I mean me and hopefully you. And hopefully we grow the community together. So talk to you soon.